Good morning everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now a while ago I released a studio tour video in which I mentioned that I wanted to get some new monitors because I've been using the same Alesis M1 Active 520s for about 5-6 years, and I wanted to upgrade to something that was overall a little bit nicer, a little bit sharper, and most importantly bigger, because one of the main problems with working with a pair of speakers that have only got 5-inch cones is the bass response, which isn't that great, especially if you're working on stuff that's below 100 Hz into the sort of sub-bass region. And that is why I now have these PreSonus Eris E8s. They're f***ing huge. So these are the boxes that the PreSonus Eris E8s were packaged in. Each speaker had its own box, so I effectively got two different deliveries. The boxes, as you can see, are blue with a picture of the speaker on the front. Isn't that nice? I don't know how to do unboxing videos. This is just really bizarre. Anyway, let's get to it. So I'm cutting the sellotape at the top of the box, and then the sides of the box. I'm now opening the box. Inside were some instructions and just general leaflets that I haven't read. I assume they're in about 50 different languages. Some polystyrene. It was nicely packaged. It was clearly not going to get damaged at all in transit. And at this point I realised quite how massive they were and really heavy, but that was a good thing. I wanted them to be big. Obviously they're wrapped up nicely in plastic to prevent any sort of dust accumulating in them, you know, via the journey. Then the power cable was at the bottom, and that's it. Now I'm just going to stop it there, because at that point in the video I freaked out a little bit because I realised that the only plugs that these speakers had come with were European ones. Now I don't know whether or not this was a fault with the product and it was supposed to come with both European and UK plugs, or if it was in essence my fault for not reading the product description properly. But regardless of whose fault it was, I panicked a little bit because I was there thinking, I'm not going to be able to use these. I've just spent a load of money on these new speakers and I can't use them. But in the end it was alright. I checked the voltage on the back of these and just used the kettle leads from my previous monitors, and that powered them up fine. They're currently stood on top of a pair of homemade speaker stands I made at school when I was 17 for my first monitors. As you can see, they're a little bit too big for the stands, but when I move house soon I'm going to be getting some proper stands for them. One of the things I like most about these monitors is just how good they look. As you can see, they've got a sort of matte finish to them and the tweeter is indented at the top, and I just think this looks really nice, really sleek. Also, as you can see, you've got the blue PreSonus logo on the bottom right hand side of each speaker, which adds a really nice touch. As far as the specific parts of the monitor are concerned, each one, as you can see here, has got an 8-inch Kevlar low frequency transducer, above which is a 1-inch ultra low mass silk dome high frequency transducer, more commonly referred to as the tweeter. Overall, the frequency response of the monitors is between 35 Hz and 22 kHz, which is relatively standard for speakers of this size and power. The really interesting thing that you get with these monitors that you don't with others is the huge amount of flexibility that you have in acoustic tuning and filters. As you can see, you can adjust both the mids and the highs, as well as there being a really good selection of frequency filters you can use. There are also some interesting diagrams showing what the best positioning for the speakers is depending on the acoustic space that you're in. And the reason this is so good for me is because I'm still a student and I'm often moving between houses and I don't always have that much space, and the space I do have often changes. This means that wherever I go in the future, I have the maximum flexibility possible to tune my monitors to the acoustic space to ensure that I get the best results possible from the speakers. The bass response on these was actually a lot tighter than I was expecting, having read a lot of reviews online that said that these were a lot more open in the bass areas than other speakers of a similar size and price range. I was pleasantly surprised to see just how tight the bass was. However, I do feel that in some areas it is lacking a little bit, and I might invest in the Tremblor T10 PreSonus subwoofer. I'm not sure about that yet. It's an idea I've been flirting with. I just really want to be able to hear absolutely everything, and because both the sub and these speakers are PreSonus, they have specific settings built into them so that you don't get any crossover frequencies, so the sub and the speakers will pair up really well. One of the things that I really do love about these speakers, which is incredibly useful being that I'm in a home studio and I don't have very much space, is that, I don't think you can see it on the video, I'll lift them up. It's a front facing bass port here, which means that you can have them closer to a wall without it impeding on the sound too much. Because if the bass port is on the back and you have it just, you know, a few 6 inches away from a wall, then it's going to affect the sound, it's going to affect the amount of air that can come in and out. But them being front ported is really useful and it really helps with being able to hear the bass. Overall, I'm really happy with the purchase. I think they are a great pair of speakers and I've really enjoyed mixing on them so far. With any new pair of monitors you get, if you're using them for mixing, it's more about how well you know them, and I would recommend to anyone who gets a new pair of monitors, before you mix anything on them, spend a week or two just listening to music, just listening to tracks that you've heard 1,000 times before on your old speakers, because then you'll be able to hear the differences, because you really need to know the speakers before you can accurately mix on them. So to conclude, if you have a home studio with fairly limited space and you want to get a good mid-range budget studio monitor, then I definitely recommend these. I've certainly got along with them really, really well since buying them, and I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more mixing on them in the future. Anyway, I hope that this has been helpful and informative for those of you who are interested in getting these speakers. I apologise to anyone who is subscribed to me who has no interest in this techie stuff. I will be releasing a new song over the next few days as well, so look forward to that. And I'm so sorry that it's been so long since I've uploaded, but I finished university now, which is great, and I was just so bogged down with exams, revision and coursework. But it's all good, I'm going to be making lots more videos from now on. So thank you all for your patience and your support. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you all very soon.